New stories of unemployment fraud are popping up across Washington.
It's frustrating because you feel like you're violated.
We've got the latest on why it keeps happening and what you can do to protect yourself. Movie theaters must stay closed under the state's stay-at-home order, but thousands of you have asked for drive-in theaters to open up in response, and the state is listening.
You got to think about food and beverage and the effects of potential contamination.
Professional sports leagues are still trying to figure out how to finish or start their seasons, but even if sports do come back, will the fans?
Up with KREM starts right now with Jen York, Joshua Robinson, Evan Narani, and Dana Marie McNichol.
Well, good morning and welcome to Up with KREM. We begin with breaking news. A standoff ended peacefully overnight on the South Hill in Spokane. Last night, Spokane police received a call about a man saying that another man was naked, allegedly high on methamphetamine, and threatening himself with a knife. The incident happened at the corner of Howard Street and 23rd Avenue. Police say a father at that home was able to get out of the house safely, but his son remained inside. After hours of refusing to surrender, law enforcement used pepper spray to remove the man from the house. By around 11 p.m., nearly all police had left the scene. Officers say they are familiar with the suspect, and police are continuing to investigate the situation. Right now, it is unclear if police will file any charges. Well, and new this morning, 2.5 million people filed for unemployment in the last week. Those are new numbers out in the past 30 minutes. That brings the total number of people out of work during the pandemic to more than 27 million. Last month, Washington lost more than 520,000 jobs. It's the state's highest jobless rate since it started keeping records in the 1970s. More than 1 million people filed for unemployment in Washington. Oregon is seeing the highest unemployment rate on record. In the last 2 months, more than 260,000 people filed for unemployment in the state. That is the largest over-the-month unemployment increase since 1976. And the Employment Security Department continues to process a backlog of thousands of claims. Another threat, though, is slowing them down, and that's a wave of fraudulent claims. Leaders are now holding payments for up to 2 days because of fraud. The Secret Service says Washington State is the prime target of an international unemployment fraud scheme. A victim spoke to KREM 2. She filed a fraud claim to stop any funds from being paid out by the state, and she also froze her credit reports.
Take all the steps right away. Don't wait. Make sure you follow through with everything because it will protect you. It will help in the long run.
Spokane police are working with the Attorney General's office now, and leaders say the Secret Service is involved as well. Well, more than 700 members of the Washington National Guard are now helping with contact tracing. Members are reaching out to people who may have been exposed to coronavirus. Governor Jay Inslee met with some of them yesterday. He says we cannot solely rely on social distancing. And he says that wants the state to identify and isolate people who are contagious. Leaders say they still want to respect the public privacy.
We're not putting tracers on people. We're really asking for people's voluntary compliance. And again, I think they understand the importance of this. When you talk to them, they don't really want to be putting other people at risk.
We get taken care of.
Now, yesterday, our Seattle sister station in Spokane talked with members, of the National Guard, and they report most people have been helpful. Well, Spokane City leaders are confident we will be able to move into Phase 2 before the long holiday weekend. And during Phase 2, restaurants will be able to open half of their dining areas. Nicole Hernandez is joining us now live to explain what the city is doing to help restaurants serve more customers. Good morning.
Good morning, Jen. So I am in a Browns edition where you all might recognize a bunch of the restaurants around here. But if phase 2 starts, when it does, they could be doing something new out here. So instead of just having their tables and chairs and seating inside the restaurant, they could actually potentially get permits to have some seating out here on the sidewalks and even potentially in the street area. So this actually isn't a completely new concept. The city of Spokane a while back was letting restaurants get permits to have seating out on sidewalks and such, but the idea really didn't stick back then. So now the city is hoping bringing back this plan will let restaurants serve more people every day.
I think in some cases, it might make the difference between a restaurant being able to stay open and closing permanently.
Some restaurants have been saying that opening just half of their seating areas, which is all they can do in phase 2, just really isn't worth it. So that's why the city is working to make it as easy as possible for all restaurants to get the right permits. And that outside seating will still have to be following social distancing rules, but we'll be giving restaurants some more options. Now, City Council is voting to approve or not approve this today, but they're thinking that it's going to be approved. So once phase 2 starts, I mean, just imagine instead of this pretty quiet courtyard that we're in, we're going to be seeing people potentially eating and ordering their food from right where I'm standing. I'll send things back to you.
Cole, of course, this is coming into the middle of spring, but the summer months will be here too. So maybe by the time people feel more comfortable going outside, going and being around people, they'll have that opportunity to sit outside, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have my big coat on now because it's like 47-ish. I don't know, ask Kevin. But no, by the afternoons, it's decent outside, and I don't really have to wear this jacket. So I think people will really enjoy having the option of being outside.
Perfect months to bring this conversation back up. Nicole, of course, thank you very much. We will keep you all updated as that vote happens today and the latest on this story. Now, news of pro sports leagues like the NBA and several other college sports programs reopening their facilities has sports fans getting pretty excited to see games resume. Multiple sources reported yesterday that the NBA could try to resume its season in Orlando, Florida. The NCAA is allowing college athletes to resume practicing. Major League Soccer is letting teams practice, including the Seattle Sounders, who are back at their club's practice fields, but they're wearing masks. All pro sports leagues, though, are planning on holding their seasons without fans. Our sister station in Seattle spoke to Mark Herrera with the International Association of Venue Managers.
We have a civic duty to assure that we provide safe, secure, and healthy environments within all public facilities where crowds assemble.
Now, Herrera tells us that the news of sports leagues preparing to return is one thing, but getting large crowds together is another entirely. He says event venues will need to follow guidelines from health officials and that fans will notice several changes when they do return.
Crowd density. We can start out with crowd density. Spacing requirements based on the square footage and based on what the science says that distance should be. You got to think about food and beverage and the effects of potential contamination. Messaging is going to be even more so now to remind individuals of simple things.
So yeah, one of the biggest questions is, when will fans be able to return to all of these empty seats? Well, Herrera says it's likely that leagues will phase in their fans. Some of those changes could also last well beyond the coronavirus threat. All right, it is expected to be a windy Thursday after a rainy Wednesday. Evan Narani keeping us all updated at our morning forecast today. Morning, Evan. All right, we're going to check in with Evan in just a minute once we figure out the audio issue going on with him. But we'll turn right now to our own Dana Marie McNichol instead this morning, who's talking about what is trending online this morning. Dana Marie, good morning.
Good morning. A great story trending online. We're talking about an English war veteran who raised more than $40 million for charity to aid coronavirus efforts. But that's just a slice of his impressive story. So Captain Tom Moore is a World War II veteran who celebrated his 100th birthday in April When he thought about, okay, how am I going to celebrate, he decided to take 100 laps around his garden in England to raise money. Now, his original goal of £1,000 quickly turned into $32 million.
The thing that really was outstanding was that when we started looking for £1,000, then they got to be 1,000 more than that. It got to be 100,000, and it got to be 1,000,000, and it went up and up and up. That was simply, it was unbelievable. I mean,
Prime Minister of England Boris Johnson said the veteran had provided the country with a beacon of light through the coronavirus fog. So he has been described even as a national treasure. Social media is showing him a lot of love. I mean, just look at his Twitter bio there. War veteran, 100 years old, Guinness World Record breaking fundraiser. When you think it just can't get any more impressive than that, just wait. Now, Captain Tom Moore will become a knight. It was just announced by the Prime Minister and approved by the Queen that he will be awarded for knighthood for his fundraising efforts. Captain Tom's initial reaction was, okay, this can't be true, when he was told about the honor, but then he went on to crack a joke.
it's nice. I think Sir Thomas sounds very nice, but inside I haven't changed. Nothing's changed inside. How do I get down on one knee? Because if I get down, I can't get up.
He is so humble and such an inspiration for people just trying to do their part, and how everyone came together to raise all that money. Joshua, little fun fact here. And everyone, I'm glad everyone's joining us. He got 140,000 birthday cards in the mail when he turned 100. How cool is that from around the world?
As he should have, I think. And I think this kind of story, Jen, makes him go from beyond being a national treasure to a global treasure. I could listen to him laugh all morning long.
Yeah, he's a great generation. I feel like he should be honored. Everyone in his generation should be honored, so I'm all for it.
Yeah. Evan, have you ever considered taking 100 laps for any reason in your life or anything?
Not unless the lap is from like here to the refrigerator. So beyond that, no.
Yeah, I love it that he just wanted to take laps around his garden and everybody loved it. And how can you not when you hear that guy laugh, see him smile? Sir Thomas. Congratulations to Sir Thomas. Love it. Dana Marie, thank you for bringing us that story. We have a lot more coming up this morning here on Up with KREM, including the talk about mail-in voting, which is becoming a new normal during pandemic times, but some states are still requiring residents to head to the polls. In our next half hour, the latest on the impacts of mail-in voting.